All right, everyone, welcome back to the Performance Matters podcast. I'm your host, Matrixx. We're here, of course, with Myles. First thing, obviously, I think cool new intro. We've kind of been making some small upgrades to our podcast studio and our podcast setup. So a couple small things here and there. But first off, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Coachology. Coachology is an AI-powered coaching platform designed to help coaches and athletes collaborate more effectively through video analysis, personalized feedback, and of course, AI coaching assistance. Obviously, that goal is to extend a coach's expertise beyond just in-person sessions and provide athletes with ongoing individual guidance. If you guys want to learn more about them, you can go to coachology.ai or look them up on Instagram as well. So a big shout out to Coachology for sponsoring this episode. Next thing I want to bring up, of course, if you guys haven't already, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. We're on Instagram. We're on Spotify. We are on YouTube. We're on Apple. So make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because we are always trying to bring you guys the latest and greatest rants, raves, and revelations from the Performance Matters podcast right here inside Iron Performance Center, Niagara's home to the greatest strength conditioning and the northeast side of the city. So saying all that, a couple things as well. First off, Parents Week. Thank you all for coming out. It's been a blast getting to see so many of you guys come to the gym, getting a workout in with your son or daughter. It's been a blast to meet all of you. And of course, hopefully you guys enjoyed your experience. So you kind of put a face to name. But thank you all. It's been a great week. And of course, another exciting update too. So August 14th?
Yeah, it's a Friday.
August 14th. So that's a Friday. Friday, August 14th at 12 p.m. Coach Myles is going to be running a webinar. So we did an episode a few weeks back on weight loss and his weight loss journey. And that sparked some great conversation, which is very encouraging to see and very encouraging to hear. So we thought, hey, you know what? Let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into the nitty gritty of what that journey looks like, how we got there, and the routines and the habits that kind of led to that success. So he's going to break all that down for you on August 14th, the Friday at 12 p.m. If you guys are interested in signing up for that webinar, it's free. So there'll be a Google form out there and you'll be emailed the link. And if you can't make it, no problem, because it will be recorded. So you guys will get access to the recording of that webinar as well. So all incentive to say, if you guys have ever been interested in weight loss or struggling with it or have questions on it, that might be a great opportunity for you guys to get some great knowledge in as well. So August 14th at 12 p.m., mark your calendars and sign up for that webinar completely free. So saying all that, now we're going to kind of dive into today's episode. I'll kind of start off with this. We're like in the tail end of summer. August is like the Sunday of summer, which is, for any of us that enjoy a good weekend. It's kind of like you kind of feel a bit of melancholy, like, oh man, it's kind of over, but also at the same time, it's exciting for what's ahead, right? A lot of our kids are going back to school, they're going back to training camp, physically dominant specimens, which has been a blast. Has there been a memory so far that kind of like resonated from the past few months over the summer break?
I don't know if it's like a specific memory, but I find myself oftentimes, I catch myself just looking around the room and just kind of being in awe of like the actual people that we are fortunate enough to be surrounded by every single day.
Yeah.
And we could post a video like panning and on the story of like, oh yeah, the room's busy, but like I'm looking around and I see two things that I think will never cease to amaze me. The variety of different incredible athletes we have, all different sports, male, female, old, young, doesn't matter. And the support they provide each other. Like it would be so, like naturally people might think it's so logical. Okay, the football guys are probably going to go down in that corner. Maybe the volleyball girls will be in this corner. The hockey guys will be over here. It's not like that at all. They're sharing racks. They're asking about each other's training and, life outside the gym, their upcoming season outlooks. They're supporting each other, like seeing them whether they're spotting each other, competing with each other, even though they're on different programs. Maybe, hey, you're sprinting, so am I. Let's compete. Got to be a couple times a week I look around and I just kind of shake my head in a good way. It's just like so amazing to see the culture that's created itself. I say the culture we've created, but really it's just as much them creating it. Yeah, it's as much them creating it. And seeing our regular folks mixed in with that kind of whole thing too is pretty amazing.
Yeah. I think it's been a blast. I think for me, I'm big with my volleyball players. It's good to hear feedback from the coaches, like they have their summer practices or their open gyms, and coaches are saying like, man, they're jumping over the middles that beat them out last season, or they're hitting harder, which in my opinion, I think attack speed is a big indicator. I know everyone gets focused on jump height, but we had an interesting conversation with one of our athletes yesterday actually, and we were talking about jump height because she's head over tails like jumping over a lot of her competitors and some of her teammates. And the issue really isn't the jump height. Like they're clearing the net how they're supposed to be clearing. Now it's coming down to almost like the setters can't set them because they're jumping higher than what the setter is planning for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost like a hidden superpower, like, oh, great. So now it's like the setters have to kind of, find a way to kind of keep pace with, well, my middles are jumping here now. I have to set them over here. So having a good setter to utilize your the middles athleticism, it becomes crucial. So it's like, well, my reverse engineering brain's kind of like, well, what leads to points in a volleyball game is going to be like, well, kills. Okay, so how do you get a better kill? Yes, you have to have a certain clearance of the net, assuming your setter can put it, but you're going to have to hit the ball really, really hard and stop people that can hit back really, really hard, because that wears on you after a while too. So getting the feedback that they're swinging harder, they're hitting harder, and of course they're still clearing the net as they should be, has been a great adaptation to see. I think it's been a big focus for us the last 3 months. And I'd even say too that they've been able to hit those outputs while gaining significant mass, which has been a huge asset. Some of them gained like 10 to 12 pounds. Some of them have put on like maybe a pound or two, maybe leaned out a little bit more. But it's cool to see how you have like these 6 foot plus females that are not only jumping higher with more mass, but they're also obviously hitting a lot harder because of it. So it's like that could be done, what's like 14 weeks now, 13 weeks or something like that of consistent work, 4 or 5 days a week in the gym. Plus they have their jobs and their, lifestyles, and they're having fun, and, a couple practices a week. It's like, it really can be that simple. You know what I mean? Like there's no magic formula to it. It's just these girls and these guys, they show up regularly, good days and bad days. Like nothing's perfect. It's never linear. We've seen dips and ebbs and flows, everything else like that. But the trend line showing a positive adaptation over the course of 12 to 14 weeks, where they've able to increase mass and their power outputs have increased. They're jumping higher, hitting harder, and way more for their frame. So you're like, it really is that simple. They're just jumping, they're sprinting, they're lifting. It's really not that complicated, in a broad picture sense. But I would say, like, if I'm looking back on the memories from the past few months, yeah, the community aspect is huge, but also seeing the fruits of labor, saying like, okay, they're getting what they're supposed to be getting out of it in a short time frame, and now we're kind of in that final runway to camp. You know what I mean? So I think that's been a fun thing to kind of experience and see, and it makes it easier to show the younger generation coming up, like, look, this is what these people are doing that are doing things that you want to do. They're playing at that level. It's very accessible for you to do that too, and you have a longer runway to do it. So there should be no excuse, which I think going to my next topic is for the athletes that are out there right now in the high school age, going into grade 11, grade 12, even grade 10, I would say, look, there's only like 4 or 5 weeks until you go back to school, and you'll have tryouts, and you'll have season, and you'll have everything else kind of coming up really quickly. These things go by really quickly. We should not waste any more time. Let's not waste any more time, right? There's still like a 4 or 5 week runway where you can get into some quality work leading into the season. So I would encourage any young athletes listening or taking the time to listen to this, get into it now, right? Don't look back and be like, oh, well, it's already August, already kind of missed a few months. Well, I'll just kind of do it, when season starts. No, it doesn't get easier when season starts, right? Like, I'm sure you can comment on that, but so.
It doesn't get easier when the season starts. And also, like you said, everybody who's already at the level you want to be at is already training all off season, is already going to be training in season. They're still trying to push. It's cool for me to see guys I've trained for like 5, 6, 7 years, for example, not only still pushing hard, but still giving me feedback of like, oh man, like my game's evolving. Like I have new tools in my toolbox I formerly didn't have. Mike Craig, I've trained him. How long? I've been here almost 8 years. I've been training him for like 8 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, my slap shot feels better than ever. Okay. Owen Taylor had OTAs on the weekend, been training him forever. And he's like, man, I had a couple guys comment like, man, once you get your hands on me, like your grip is crazy. You're like that strength. Like you didn't have that strength last year type thing. So even these guys who are, I think a lot of kids think, oh, I want to play university, whatever sport. So I'm going to train. I'm going to get recruited. I'm going to commit there. And then it's going to be smooth sailing.
Yeah.
A, we know from experience that's not the case, but B, the guys who are successfully doing it are still pushing, still trying to, keep expanding their game and expanding their toolboxes. And it's cool to see, they're getting that feedback from their coaches and their teammates. Like you said with the volleyball thing, hitting harder, jumping higher. And we've seen it with these other sports as well. Guys who've been, they have different like off-season team activities or something. getting that feedback, not only from, hey, I feel really good, but their teammates are noticing it too.
Yeah. I think if I had to cater a message to parents and young athletes, like, look, you're heading into September, a new school year. For me, it's a very exciting time of year. It's great to see the energy and everyone kind of excited to rally around some, for me, it's kind of like that is really the new year. It's not January 1st. For me, it's like September 1st or whatever.
A lot of time, that's how we look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, hey, this is the new year. So if I'm a parent of an athlete or I'm a young athlete, it's like, look, if you are looking to get better, yes, maybe you didn't do as much as you could in the summer. That's fine. But you know what they say about a tree, right? It's like best time to plant a tree was like 5 years ago. Next best time is today.
Right.
That's today. Plan your stuff out early and kind of use that, I guess not philosophy, but like the big rocks and sand and pebbles kind of thing. It's like, okay, what are your big rocks? It's like, what are you focusing around? Okay, school, that's kind of like preset plan already for you, right? Your class schedule's there. What's your next big rock? Practice, games. You start going down the list, right? I would even argue, right? Like if, that's like your primaries, your rocks, secondaries, your pebbles, and the rest is all sand, it kind of just fills in the gaps. I would argue strength and conditioning should be a rock. But at the very least, it should be a pebble. Like you still got to make room for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, even though you have like a lot of rocks in your jar, you still got to make room for that pebble. Right. But I would still prioritize it as a big rock because it's adding to your ability to play better and longer. We've had these conversations before as well, where it's like the best, like the athletes that win championships stay healthier longer. It's like, well, remember, if we're talking about like a 7 or 8 month season, that adds up. Right. So it's not who can just start off hot. They're not going to ask who won the tournaments in November. They're not going to ask who won the game in December. They're going to ask, okay, who won the championship? Who won the OVAs, OUAs, CIs, whatever it is, U Sports, NCAAs, who won? That's all that matters. So it's like, who can make it to March, April in peak shape and not beat up as like everyone else? That's going to perform the best. So, I think plan for like your strength conditioning is an asset to your sport. Right? It's not in replacement to, it's not in subtraction of, it's in addition to, it's a necessary part. And I'd argue that, I don't know if it's a hot take. It's not a hot take to me. It's a part, it's ingrained in your sport now, right? Like we're fortunate to have, the Rapids teams and track and everything else. It's because it's ingrained in their system now. It's like, if you're a high performing athlete, this is a part of being a high performance athlete. Right? Just like how you prioritize practice, you prioritize your strength conditioning and performance training as well, because it's all helping one another. It's not in substitution of, it's in addition to, and this is just part of that holistic approach. So it should be taken with the same seriousness and same dedication as you would practice, especially because, we've had these conversations before as well, where you can win here. You can win in the weight room, right? Like you don't control the drills you're going to do in practice. Coach will pick the drills. They pick who starts. There's a lot of things not in your control as an athlete. You show up to practice, you're doing the drills, but there's a lot you can control in the weight room, right? There's a ton of things you can control, right? So you can control how physical you want to be, right? So you don't get to pick your playing time. You don't get to pick the drills you do, but the weight room, you can decide how physical you want to be. And that comes from your effort and your exertion. And you control those things. Those are completely within your grasp to become better and dominate at. And do those things, you can be better on the court anyway. When you get your shot, you have a better chance of making it great. So I think if I had to give advice to parents of athletes now and to the athletes themselves, it's look at your schedule and treat training and treat your practice as appointments, right? You make a doctor's appointment, you make a dentist appointment, it's in your calendar, you show up, you do it, right? Training is no different, practice is no different. You put practice in your calendar, it's an appointment. You show up on time, ready to go, right? Put training in your calendar, you show up, you're ready to go. You do that early, there's no reason you miss. It's not something like, I have time, now I'll go do it. No. Because we know how...
You would never treat practice like that.
Never.
You would never treat film like that.
Never. Right? So why you treat training that way? And remember, all coaches talk too. Coaches are asking us over the summer, like, how's so-and-so doing? Like, show me these things. Yep,
and we won't lie.
Yeah, we don't lie. We're not going to risk our integrity for an athlete that's not showing up and doing the right things, right? And so coaches talk to each other. So I think as a parent of a young athlete, it's like, maybe you didn't do as much as you could in the summer. Well, we can't dwell on things that we didn't do. But we can do something now. So do something now, right? If it's August, you still have like a 4 or 5 week runway, you can still get a lot of quality work in. That'll make it easier to assimilate into this school and season. So take advantage of that. Don't waste any more time. Don't wait for some arbitrary date in the calendar. Like that irritates the hell out of me.
The excuses you'll hear will be like, today's Tuesday. Well, I can't start today because I'm going away for a long weekend this weekend to a cottage. So I can't start today. So I'm going to be back Monday, but then it's already Tuesday again. Okay, I'll start the week after.
Oh, it's awful.
Like people will come up with these crazy reasons why they can't do something. It's unbelievable. But I think the big mindset shift has to be, the weight room should be an extension of practice.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at if you look at, let's say, student athletes, when you look at what every student athlete is doing, arguably if you have 4 pillars, it's school, it's practice, it's strength and conditioning, and it's film or, the tactical side of whatever game you're playing. So the problem is missing any single one of those, you're not going to be as good of an athlete as you could be. You're in the weight room, you give her at practice, you're in the film room, but you don't have school, you're not eligible. You have school, you're really good in the weight room, you're really good at practice, but you don't pay attention in film, you're not going to be sharp enough and you're not going to know what you're doing on game day. And you remove any one of those and you can finish those sentences, yourself, you will have a missing piece. You will not be as effective of an athlete as you could be. You try pretty hard at practice, you do well in school, you go to film, but you don't lift, you don't train in here. Again, missing piece. So I think that's a mindset shift that has to change, is that no one of those 4 pieces is any more important than the other, right? You can argue, well, practice is the most important thing. Okay, sure. But that mindset has caused people to fully throw the weight room to the wayside. Or I see guys throw the film room to the wayside. I'm like, when you get out there and you are physically equal with somebody and they're smarter than you, they're going to win. So that's just my point being, all 4 of those things are equally valuable. And I think until that mindset shift kind of happens, athletes are not going to reach their potential.
Yeah, it sucks too, because it requires parents to understand that as well. I'm not saying being overbearing, but I'm saying kind of be in the know and start maybe hopefully understand that if your son or daughter has potential or they're striving to kind of be in that next bracket of like elite, like A squad or post-secondary potential, this is an opportunity that's a necessity. It's not something that's just like, oh, we can or can't do it. They have to be in the know and be like, training is serious. It's like, if you're trying to be, it doesn't matter if you're a hockey player, doesn't matter if you're a volleyball player, basketball player, football player,
be a golfer,
baseball, doesn't matter, right? In this day and age, especially now where athletes are getting better and better and better, and those margins are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, it's no longer like a nice thing to do. Right. It's a necessity.
It's one of those 4 pillars.
Yeah. It's now solidified itself as like, this is a necessity to do that. And I think, parents kind of treat it sometimes as like, something nice to do.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but there's enough out there that, from the education standpoint, and I get it too, because like we see parents like, oh, they want to start training. Yeah, well, we got to look at our calendar. We got to do this. It's like, totally understand, but then you also have to manage your expectations.
Yeah,
you have to manage your expectations. Like, we take this shit very seriously, right? We have fun, like, but also winning is fun.
Yeah,
we have a lot of athletes that we have. They have a great time. It's a great experience. Like you said, that adds to the community, but it's not taken away from the work being done. It's not in substitution of work being done. It's a great community. It's a great atmosphere. And the nice part about this atmosphere is that everyone's pushing as hard as they can within their day. And that empowers everyone else to do the same. So if you're in the room, it's not just you're in the room taking, like you're in the room giving as well. It's like you're doing your best, you're paying attention, you're giving the effort, matching the exertion, paying attention to prescriptions and hammering it to the best of your ability. By default, you're actually empowering others to do the same. They're looking around, they're seeing people doing stuff, and they're taking notes too. Like, oh, that person's really going. So if everyone's doing that, which everyone does, it sets the tone of like, hey, this is like where shit happens.
I don't want to be the one not upholding the standard.
There's an unspoken standard. It's like, yeah, your job's to uphold that too. If you're kind of goofing around or not, giving your best shot, well, now you're no longer providing that energy to help the standard. You're actually taking away from it. So, I think parents have to understand what that looks like and what that means, because there's places that I think they look at it like you're going to Giant Tiger. You're just, you need like an umbrella. Let's go to the dollar store. It's like, yeah, but you don't have the expectation that an umbrella at the dollar store is going to be the same as an umbrella from like
a couple weeks later. It doesn't even click or open. Yeah, it's got a hole in it.
What do you do?
The mechanism is
broken.
Videos
where they just like click, boom, and the umbrella just shoots off the stick. You're like, oh, right.
Oh, or like never saw this coming.
Like Temu training, Temu training.
Freaking Walmart.
You were like the cookware. Also, it's like made of plastic or something, and you're like, holy smoke! But that's what you get, right? You manage expectations of what you're getting. So I think parents have to do their diligence and, understand a bit more. And I think it's up to us as, performance coaches as well to help them educate, but we stand firm on what's like the necessary steps, right? So
you've seen it happen enough times and be successful enough times, the recipe, that it's like, it's hard to be convinced of otherwise. You know what I mean? If a parent comes with some objections, it's like, I could name you a list of 200 athletes who we've trained who've had success doing it this way. So like, maybe you're right, but you're probably not right.
Yeah.
It's ironic too. Sometimes I find, and I've heard this from other people too, that a lot of time the best, most supportive athlete parents are those who played high level sports themselves.
It helps.
Yeah. So like the one guy I was talking to coaches his kids' youth team, whatever sport it is, and he's telling me about the one tournament we were in, and all the parents were chirping at me when I was making decisions, and I was like, "Oh, the parents of your own team?" And he was like, "No." He's like, "The parents of the team I'm coaching are a dream." And he said because they all played high level sports, like they get it. He's like, it was whatever sport it was. He was like, it was the parents of the other team that was whatever. But point being of the story, I was like, "Oh, they're parents of your team?" He said, "No." And he said because they all played high level sports, he's like, they totally get it. They just let me like run the machine. They're supportive, but they're not annoying, right? A lot of time that's where the disconnect happens, is when they've never really been in that arena, so to speak. I think they have a hard time. But again, to your point, it's up to us to educate them.
Yeah, but they also be willing to listen.
Yeah.
Right? I think we've had, like, if I'm looking back, I'm trying to remember conversations with parents. I think it's understanding realistic standards, realistic expectations, realistic goals. So again, let's say I'm on a call with a parent and the athlete's present. Let's say they're like a 14, 15-year-old athlete. We've had great conversations. Their parents like, look, I want them to, this is their thing. They want to get better for their sport. And they're curious, like, what does that look like? Okay, well, from my experience, based on the conversation we're having and based on all, things we kind of talked about, here's like kind of the broad picture plan that I'd probably start with. And here's why. And then we could always evolve it from there, or we can make adjustments as needed, because we don't have the answer from like a 5 or 10 minute conversation. Like, we'll never really know, because there's like preconceived notions. There's a lot of preconceived notions out there about training, about sport performance, about health, about fitness, about lifestyle. And these things are constantly evolving. So it's easy to get caught up in a lot of these traps where it's like, there's going to be these preconceived notions and these, considerations that kind of have pre-built in their head.
Especially for the kids who are like, "Oh, I've trained before."
Exactly.
And then you have a glimmer of hope, and then they show up and you go, "Oh, goodness."
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I've been in the gym for like 3 or 4 years.
I've been at this facility, that place, this gym, and then, okay. And then like at first you're hopeful. And they show up and you're like, "Oh, you poor soul. Okay, we got work to do."
Yeah. So let's go back to block 0 here just to make sure everything's, squared away. But a great conversation with parents, like they're curious, okay, what does it look like? And you paint the picture, okay. And then say, okay, if this is what they want, then we're going to make this happen. And then it's up to the athlete to be autonomous. Like, this is your thing. You better follow through with your commitment.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing. It's like, great. So, and I usually tell parents, like, look, love meeting you, love talking to you, but any communication moving forward, I want to hear from them. Like, I don't want to speak to you anymore unless it's an emergency. I really want to empower the athlete to communicate, schedule their times and do the work. Like, that kind of autonomy is going to be necessary. Conversations where things have not, I think, gone a good way is where they'll ask questions, you'll give them answers. They don't like the answer. Mm-hmm. They try to almost try to reroute you to change the answer to fit their notion.
Which I will not do.
No, which is like, that's not realistic. It's like, we got to add X amount of inches by this date. Can we do this? It's like, well, that's probably not realistic, but here's what we can do in this time frame. Well, they only come we got a busy schedule. It's like, well, then what is your priority?
You're already disqualifying yourself.
You're disqualifying yourself. Yeah. So it's like, you're coming with
an issue. You played the game.
Yeah. You're coming with an issue and you're looking for reasons why you can't do what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, then what is it? Like, some of those conversations, like, well, what is it then? Like, what is it? Like, what did you want from hopping on this conversation? Like, you took the time to schedule a quick 10, 15-minute call with me. I took the time to answer it. What do you want from it? Like, what were you looking to get out of this conversation? Were you looking for answers? Were you curious? Questions? Okay, like, I'm here answering your questions. If it wasn't the answer that you were expecting, well, what kind of made you have that preconceived notion? Let's kind of dive into it a little bit. Where'd that number come from? Where'd that routine come from? Where'd whatever you thought of come from? And let's get to the root of it and see, maybe, are you open to changing your mind? Because what you're thinking is realistic or possible might not be. And here's why. So I think when they start trying to disqualify themselves, and then they'll usually go and find someone who tells them what they want to hear. But again, we've had that happen too. And that's fine. It's like, that's your prerogative. But we're trying to put the athlete first and give them the best possible chance of getting what they want out of it. But it's a two-way street, right? It's a two-way street. We have athletes too, where the parents are great, and then athletes are like, "Yep, I'm committed," and then they don't show up, and they start wondering, "Well, why am I not getting better?" It's like, well, we haven't seen
You
you.
don't get
in
better by accident.
Yeah, we haven't seen you in like 3 weeks. Like, what did you
Right.
expect was going to happen? You put in a total accumulation of maybe 6 hours of training over the past 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah. Other kids are doing that in 4 days.
Yeah, so
Right?
it's like, what did you expect was going to happen?
Right.
Right? Like, we can't even talk the nitty gritty details. We have to earn the right to split hairs when it comes to performance training, right? Like, yeah, we want to use speed tethers and jump heights. We want to like start diving deep in these things, but we need enough data to actually make a rational decision. If you haven't even, like, if you can't even do the skills properly first, let's not even talk about those things. Let's just get these movement skills down, because it's these tools you have to learn how to use that are going to lead to the outcomes that you want. But we first have to learn how to use the tool, and then we can start to dive deeper into how we're going to use it, right? So it's like, hey, this is what the tool is. We're going to practice it. And then once you get a firm grasp of it, here's how we're going to use it better, right? It's like, if you don't know how to squat, no problem. Like, there's different variations. We will learn to squat in some capacity. We'll do different movement drills, single leg, different stances, sprint techniques, jump techniques, all those things. We're going to cover all those bases. And then from there, once we have a firm grasp of how to do those things, consistently, then we can start to say, how can we use this tool to derive a different intent behind it? Now I want you to jump, but I want the focus to be on speed off the ground. I want you to land a certain way. I want you to emphasize this quality. But we have to earn that right. We can't just start throwing shit out there because it looks cool and we think that, oh, that's what the best people are doing. It's like, no, we're not squeezing everyone into a mold. We're building the mold around them, right? But I think we've had, people, another conversation with parents like, well, I want them to be on the volleyball specific program. It's like, well, they're still going to sprint. They're still going to jump. They're still going to move multi directions, and they're still going to lift in these ways. It's more just having that framework, what tools might be a best fit for their archetype. Like, I don't think every athlete needs a personal program. Like, and I say personal, I don't mean like specified to the exact, like, you put two volleyball players who are two different heights as an example, and you have the same, let's say, framework for how the plan's laid out. The only tweaks that might need to be made are going to be the exercise variation based on how they move with it, and maybe the prescription based on their capacity and their tolerance to it. And then you make those adjustments as you go. It's like, that's good enough. Why? It's because this framework will work. It's covering all the bases you need to cover. And these are the tools that best fit their quality, or their ability to do it. So let's start there, right? Like, if you're looking at what our post-secondary volleyball players are doing, it's probably going to be different what the high school kids are doing, but there might be some similarities too. Like, maybe some of them are more experienced that they can handle some of these things that make sense for that. If it doesn't make sense, then we're not going to do it. If I can, find a pathway that's going to, make sense to the outcome after a certain time point, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste time doing that. For what? Right? So I think they have to just be, let's be realistic. I don't say it's like realistic, oh, like, we're never going to get there. It's like, well, let's start first, and we can have a better idea as we go. And we can make those adjustments very rapidly if we need to, if it's earned. We're not just going to start throwing things because, oh, I drew this perfect plan up, I got to do the next cycle. It's like, well, if it's working, I'm going to keep running it until it doesn't work, and then I'm going to change it. Like, why would I do anything else? Right? So, but a big part of it's going to be the autonomy on the athlete and the parent. Be like, look, this is a two-way street. If we plan the work, you have to work the plan. Plain and simple. Right? So,
because until you work the plan, we can't even reflect on whether or not it's successful or not. Yeah. Like you said before, kids that show up like for 6 hours a month or whatever you said, and we expected them to be in 3 or 4 times a week, and they're like, I'm not getting any better. Well, I could have told you weren't going to get any better. This is the play I called. You didn't run it. So
yeah, I was like, what did you really expect to happen?
You're just rolling dice and hoping that you get double sixes or whatever.
Would you treat practice any other way?
Yeah.
Like, if you missed 2 out of 3 practices a month, 2 to 3 practices a week.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I'm not getting any better.
You're not playing catch in the yard with your dad and then hoping you're going to throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Welcome to Iron Performance Center, Niagara's home for real personal and performance training. We're a community obsessed with building durable, explosive, game-ready humans. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just training that works. From athletes chasing scholarships, to pros chasing championships, to regular people who just want to feel strong, move well, and stay built for real life. If you're willing to work, you're our people. Our system is simple: smart programming, elite coaching, and a culture that pushes you to levels you didn't know you had. With modern technology and principles-based programming, we track your progress, teach you movement skills, and give you every tool you need to perform when it matters most in whatever arena you call home. Iron Performance Center, because performance matters.
Yeah,
Right.
there are levels to this shit.
Well, other guys might throw 90. Like, why can't I?
It's like especially if you're not like an outlier.
Yeah.
And, you know, like 99% of people are in that middle gray area. Your job is to get at the top of the gray area. A lot of it's just consistency and volume of quality work.
Right.
They're working harder than you, longer than you. That's literally all it is.
Right.
That's it. And now you might say, well, I'm working hard. It's like, well, we have to define what you mean by working hard. Like when you say you work hard and you're doing a lot, are you just doing a lot or are you doing things that are productive?
Yeah, you busy or you productive?
Are you busy or are you productive? Right. So it's like, it's no different than in careers. Like, well, I have 10-year experience. Like, well, do you have 10 years of experience or do you have 1 year of experience 10 times?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the same concept. Right. So I think they have to understand that. They have to, and be willing to invest in that. If they're not, then that's fine. But then manage your expectations.
Yeah.
Come the end of the summer, come the end of the year, end of the season. So
yeah, it's not going to happen by accident.
It's not going to happen by accident. So now we're heading in, like preparing for the in season. Again, I would tell parents, start planning now and, set training as a rock. Practice is a rock, games are a rock, training is a rock too. It's a foundational, fundamental pillar of your performance as a whole. So plan for it now and put that in your calendar and don't miss. If you treat it as an appointment and you get, in season, if you get 2 or 3 quality, performance sessions in a week, you're great, right? You're great. Do that.
Like we've spoken about in the past, though, if you never did more than 2 in the off season per week, 2 is going to feel like
it's going to feel awful.
A massive undertaking.
Yeah, it's going to feel awful.
Versus you've done 3 or 4 or 5 every week in the off season, 2 feels like a day off, right?
Yeah, I think it just becomes a necessity. It's like you should be in the weight room at least twice a week in season, at least.
Yeah,
at least twice a week, bare minimum twice a week.
And you never mention which sport because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
because kids are going to come hear this and say, "Well, I play this, I play that." It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if you practice 6 days a week. It doesn't matter. You're not doing too much because there's kids right now that are same age that are kicking your ass that are doing more than you with less than you.
Right.
Like that's a huge, and all it takes is perspective.
Yeah.
It just takes perspective. Like, if you're a hockey player and there's a team that's kicking everyone's ass, go watch what they do for a week. Like literally, like try to be a day in the life for them for a week. So, okay, where they wake up at, what are they doing before practice, before school, after school? Watch what they're doing for a week and say, are you doing all that? The team, the guys or girls that are kicking your ass, are you doing half of what they're doing? No, then why are you expecting that you'll be better than them? Right? Especially things that you can control.
Right.
Like those are all controllable factors. You can control when you go to practice. You can control your effort in practice, right? You don't pick the drills, but you can control the effort you put into them. You can control your attitude and your effort in the weight room. You can control when you go, like do that and then maximize it. Those are all like 95% of the things you're doing are within your control. So why wouldn't you? And don't be surprised if there's guys and girls that are beating your ass and then that you're not doing enough. It's like, well, yeah, you're not. But we have this fragility of like, well, I don't want to do too much. It's like, you can't even talk about that yet. You're not doing enough.
You're not doing enough.
Yeah, you're not doing enough. You're worried about too much. You're not even doing enough. You think, like, again, but where is this preconceived notion? I don't want my athlete doing too much. Where did that come from?
Well, even in our industry, I'm so sick of this, like minimum effective dose concept, because I do understand it, but I think it's made the whole thing go so...
It just swung the pendulum way too far.
Like, I want to know what is my maximum my MRV, my maximum recoverable volume. That's what I want to know. How much can I do before I tip over that edge? Yep. That's where I want to live most of the time, because it's a lot easier to pull back from there. That's what I believe. Yep. You have such a limited time. Tim Riley talked about it one time on the podcast too, and it was essentially like, it's a bit of a different concept, but same idea, where he was like, it's a balance of not throwing too advanced of training techniques at a kid, because you want to save them for later. It's like the tube of toothpaste analogy, right? Mm-hmm. But the problem is, like, none of us know how long we're going to be able to play our sport. And he's like, for some of these different training techniques I want to use with some of these young guys, whether it's, for him, a lot of time it's college guys going to the NFL or the NBA. He's like, what if I don't use some of these techniques and then they never get there, so I don't ever get to use them? And what if I would have used that technique and that would have pushed his performance over the edge, or her performance over the edge type thing, right? So like, I want to find like what's the maximum recoverable volume I can do? What's the hardest training I can do? What's the most advanced training methods I can use without being, not just for the sake of being complicated or trying to be complex, but what's the hardest and most intelligent I can push, and then I can pull back from there if I need to. But it's become so much like minimum effective dose, this and that. Like, I promise you, if everybody just does the minimum effective dose, you're not going to get anywhere near what your potential is.
Yeah, it's
like you said, it's a pendulum.
Yeah, it just swung too far the other way. It swung too far the other way.
All these minimum effective dose people are going to get beat by people working harder than them. Sorry, like they just are.
Yeah, it's crazy how science should impact how we coach, right? Like it's supposed to be impactful how I coach, but it doesn't take away from like the work that's necessary to lead to an adaptation. There's still a certain amount of load and volume and density that needs to happen to elicit a response. So we can't just, dabble in, kind of just touching it. It's like, well, first off, you have to have a high enough base that you can do that and that's beneficial to you. Right? Like the touch the stove analogy. You just want to touch the stove and get off. Yes, but you have to earn the right. You know what I mean? If it's lukewarm all the time, touching a lukewarm stove ain't gonna do nothing for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we still have to acquire a certain amount of load and strain to elicit a response. And if we're constantly just pulling back or like going into it fluffy, you know what I mean? Like pulling back all the time, we're like, well, what are you doing?
Say a study comes out. The thing with the studies kills me. This is a whole nother tangent, but say a study comes out, I'm just making up numbers that are arbitrary. All you need is 2 hard sets, to near failure, and you're going to get stronger or you're going to get more muscular. Cool. But like, what if I want to do like 4 sets and I'm going to get even a little bit more strong, a little bit more muscular? Okay. But once you do 6, like that's diminishing returns. Cool. Let me live in that 4 category. I don't want to just do the 2. I don't want to just do what everyone else is doing. Let me live in the 4. And it's funny because we base a lot of these decisions on scientific research, which is so critical for us to keep pushing ourselves forward. Don't get me wrong, but it's actually funny. Stu Locke posted the other day. It was like, essentially, I think it was called the replication fallacy or something. Essentially, there's evidence now that if I go and do a study today on something in here in the weight room, and I check all the boxes and it's scientifically sound, and you go try to replicate it, you're probably not going to be able to.
Yeah.
It was something like 3 out of 4 studies in biology can't be replicated. 2 out of 3 in psychology can't. So the point is like, that stuff is so important for us to keep trying to learn and push the industry forward. But like some of these people are living and dying by what they read in a scientific journal. I'm like, brother, get out there and get some calluses on your hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could say, oh, the minimum effective dose was 2 sets of this taken to this RPE or this velocity. Okay, cool. But like, I'm going to do more than you and I'm going to end up being stronger and faster and bigger than you. And I'm not going to care what your study said. I'm not going to give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the weird place we're at, I find.
There's big jack strong guys in the gym that have no idea what they're doing. There's big jack strong. So it's like, they don't know what they're doing.
Jordan Shallow said it, I'd rather be strong than right.
Yeah. It's like, they're doing something, they don't know what it is. They're doing something right. They're just constantly going to that threshold of fatigue. And they're like, that's good. Like, I hit my fatigue threshold. I'm pushing as hard as I can every time I go in. Great. That's good enough.
That's what I mean. Like,
right. That's good enough. So it's like, why are we thinking that, young athletes that don't even have enough years of training age experience, like quality training experience, that we're already worried about a problem that they haven't even yet.
They haven't earned the right to have that problem.
They haven't even
and if you don't train harder, you're not going to get to that point where you earn the right to have that problem. You're not going to go pro where you can start. Like, I talked to Robbie Smith on the podcast, and it was cool listening to him say how his training has developed or evolved. 80 games played in the league. But like, he was very quick to say, okay, but like high school, college, like the volume was super high because it needed to be. I wouldn't be where I am currently. 2 Grey Cup wins, 80 games, like highest paid, one of the highest paid Canadian DNs in the league. If I never did all that crazy volume when I was younger, if I didn't build that foundation, he's earned the right. You know what I mean? That's just one example of someone we've had on the podcast. But a lot of these kids are not even going to earn that right because they're not putting in the prerequisite work now.
Yeah.
And then guess what? Once that opportunity is gone, that window of opportunity closes, you're not getting it back.
Yeah. And they're going to tell themselves whatever reason they couldn't do something. And they're going to reflect back on that. It's like, yeah, but that isn't in life in general too. That's just a useless attitude.
And you're just going to live with regret.
Yeah. You're going to live with it or you're going to find a way to cope with it. And you're going to make excuses to why you couldn't do it. It's like, well, the question you have to live with is going to be like, did you do everything in your power to find out? Yes or no? Like, did you do everything you could to find out how good you could have been from all these different pillars? If no, then you have to live with that. It doesn't matter why you didn't. If it was in your control, you chose not to do it. It wasn't like, it's not like, you had an injury, but even then people have injuries that come back and they do stuff. It's like, it's that same attitude of like trying to find out what I'm capable of.
Right.
So you have to make, that was a choice at that point. You made a choice to not do it. You had every opportunity to, but you chose not to, and you rationalize, that fits your prerogative. I couldn't because of this. I couldn't because of that. I would have, but it's like, it doesn't matter. Did it happen or no?
It doesn't matter because you didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Would, could, should, didn't. Irrelevant.
Yeah, you're being, you're, what do you call it? Fantasizing.
Yeah.
You're just shooting stuff.
Fantasizing and rationalizing.
Yeah, you're just
so you can look in the mirror and you can sleep at night.
Yeah,
whatever.
No one cares. Like literally, everyone's gonna rest their head at night peacefully. Like, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I believe you. Doesn't matter. It didn't get done. So I think young athletes understand that this is not something that's just nice to do. It's a necessity now. Like it's a necessity to, and that's something you can control. That's going to maybe push you over the edge compared to some of your opponents. It really is. You take a fast guy, you get him tired. He ain't so fast. Get a strong guy, get him tired. He ain't so strong. Take a skilled player, get them tired. They're not so skilled. That's all physicality. You just have to you don't have to be better than their genetic potential. You have to outlast their genetic potential. You have to wear on them so much where now their genetic potential is less than your ability.
Right.
You bring them down to your level. If their skill level is so high, you know what I mean? And they get worn out, now they leveled up the playing field. Now you have an opportunity to capitalize on it. And you can do that by being strong and powerful and consistent. It's not about who wins the first set. Can you win in set 3, set 4, set 5? Who can win the first period? Who can win the third period? First quarter, fourth quarter. It's like those are all the analogies that coaches throw out there. Well, yeah.
For a good reason, yeah.
Yeah, what does that come down to? Right? Guys and girls get tired. Their outputs and their skills, they get fatigued. Your job is to fucking wear on them so much that it comes to that point where you have an opportunity to beat them.
You see big comebacks in sports all the time. Look at the River Lions on the weekend, down 27 in the third quarter.
Huge.
End up winning.
Yeah, huge.
And not only getting saved by the Elam ending, because they closed that gap by the fourth quarter. So it's not even like we were just, lucky to have that type of format. Like they closed that gap in the third and then went into the fourth and they were able to get the job done. Because that's how Kimball runs the ship, right? Guys that have that never say die attitude.
Yeah. And henceforth, now we can qualify for playoffs. So it's like, that was a make or break thing. And they came through. They came back from a big deficit and they wore on their opponents and made them think twice about what's possible. And our guys just were unrelenting. So it's a huge encouraging thing to see. And my point being for a lot of the athletes and parents, it's very possible. Just don't believe your own bullshit as to why it's not.
Right.
It's very possible. Do not believe your own bullshit as to why you can't. Right. You can't pick how tall you are. Right. You don't get to pick the drills. You don't get to pick who plays and who starts. But the things you do control, don't believe your bullshit as to why you can't. You can go to the gym. You can train at least twice a week in season. Right. You can do all those things. Other athletes have been doing it. And not all of them are in privileged positions where they have all these other things going for them. Right. But they still find a way. We have a lot of stories like that too. So it's more than possible. Don't believe your bullshit is why you can't. And then do your homework as to what quality training is. It's not just lifting weights. It's not just throwing things. It's not just jumping. It's not these arbitrary buckets. Oh, it's lifting. Yeah, they lift weights. Like we have rowers. We have rowers that are with us now that, yeah, their rowing club lifts weights. It's the same. Oh yeah, we do 3 sets of 10 this, 3 sets of 10 that, 3 sets of 10 this. It's like, okay. That's like me saying, yeah, I practice. I go to volleyball practice in my backyard.
Yeah. And I do 100 serves in a row.
I do 100 serves in a row in my backyard.
And nothing else.
Yeah. It's
I'm
like,
ready to play.
Yeah, I play. It's like I practice. Yeah, I go to practice like 3 or 4 days a week. I'm in practice in my backyard. It's like, well, yes, it's sure that's nice, but you cannot say it's the same.
No.
You can't compare those two things. There are levels to quality training, quality coaching, right? It's the guy with the hammer who knows where to hit versus somebody just throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks, right? We're big on consistency. We're big on feedback. We're big on making the adjustments to get closer to the mark versus just throwing shit out there and saying, oh, that should work. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Let's just change it up and do it again, right? It's more hands-on than that. And that's what quality training should be, right? We're trying to like impact their ability to be physical, but also their confidence and abilities. So there's a lot of things that a quality environment and quality program and quality coach will do. So having some of those conversations with parents that, they don't like the answer, it's like, man, it's crazy that you will go out of your way to find someone who will tell you what you want to hear. So maybe there's some like reason for them being right. I don't know.
This never happens, but I almost wish you could follow up with some of those parents who They maybe reach out to us looking for training. We give them the answer that they need, but that they don't really want, right? They end up going to some other facility instead because they give them the answer they want. You almost wish you could follow up in 2 months and be like, so how much closer have you gotten to that crazy goal you said? Oh, you haven't got any closer? Yeah. You know why? Because you're being lied to. Like, you almost wish you could follow up at that point, eh? And then
Yeah,
it's I mean, sometimes those people end up coming back anyway, but
yeah. And when they come back, it's like,
I don't want to say I told us so, but I told us so.
it's not even told you so. You kind of look back like, man, we lost a bit of weight. We're a little bit weaker than we left.
And there's X number of months we'll never get back.
Yeah, you're like, shit.
Or years.
We got to backpedal, which at least we're kind of trying to right the ship a little bit. But it goes back to that saying we've always said before, right? Everyone thinks they've been training until they start training.
And there's nothing worse than the pain of regret. Like, guys, how many guys have I had that come, say in the summer, but going into their 4th year, and they're like, man, I knew you guys were around. I thought I could do it on my own, and I just wish I came sooner. Though I hate those moments because when you can't get those moments back and they can't fix it, and I'm like, that's my I told you so moment, or like, yeah, like I was trying to tell you, like,
yeah, it's definitely a fine balance.
Better late than never, but
better late
never
than
late is
never.
better.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where like, well, I mean, I'd like to think that we're very open. So it's like, hey, athletes, like it's not like a bad decision. At least maybe you tried something.
Yeah.
We're always open to saying, hey, like, yeah, you tried, no problem. If it's not working out how you want, we're still here. Like, feel free to reach out. We're always down for a conversation and see how we can help. So it's never like, I don't like to think like, oh, we take it like pride, like, oh my God, you went there, blah. It's like, don't ever talk to me again. It's like,
right.
It's never like that. It's like, hey, I hope it works out for you.
Yeah.
I hope you're good.
And when I say I told you so, it's not rubbing it in their face. It's just more me thinking like, God, I wish you would have listened.
Yeah, it's like, damn it.
But it's okay. We'll right the ship now. But it's not. I told you so. Like, I got you. No, definitely not.
Mm-hmm. I like to think that door's always open.
Yeah, it's big enough.
Yeah, I like to think it's always open. Hopefully, they have the courage to reach out. Like, we're here to help them, any way we can. And I think, I think what we do and the results that we have from it speak a lot of volumes. And to any athletes or parents that are like maybe listening and say, you know what, maybe it's like, great, reach out. Like, let's hop on a conversation. Let's talk it out and let's get your questions answered, right? Like I said, there's a lot of preconceived notions about training because there's so much information. Everyone thinks they could do it themselves, which, yeah, sure, you can, but I'm not a plumber. I'm sure I could read a manual and watch a YouTube video how to fix a pipe, but it's about accelerating the process for quality, but also making sure the quality is really good too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, even if I knew how to fix plumbing, instead of it taking me like days to do it, someone could do it like an hour, right? So it's like, assuming I do it the right way, it takes me longer to do it. If I'm doing it the wrong way, now it took me time to do it the wrong way and I have to go back and fix it. So it's like, the whole point of quality training is to A, make sure it's quality, and B, accelerate it. Like, we're accelerating a process that maybe you could do on your own, but we're trying to accelerate to make sure we're hitting the mark better, faster.
And the beauty of you talking about quality training is that it's precise, it's purposeful, but it's not fancy. So like a lot of the answers we're going to give kids might surprise them at times of what the program looks like. Or, you ask a kid, like, how's your nutrition? Oh, it's great. I had a granola bar for breakfast and clementine for lunch and then a pack of Gushers for dinner. Like, yeah, I feel pretty good, right? A lot of time it's going to be, okay, here's what you should probably eat. And it's nothing crazy. It's just like a sound nutrition plan. And then what's your training been looking like? Oh, chest and buys on Monday, Tuesday, and also Thursday. And then legs and shoulders, maybe. And we go, okay, well, actually, this is what a real good program looks like. Boom. It's not a complicated. It's not about being fancy. It's about being right. Or like we say, at least being less wrong.
Yeah. I think helping them be aware. It's like, look, like we've had field trips where, we're talking about performance, we're talking about frameworks and different tools that maybe they can take away and use. A lot of them are doing the simple 90s bro split still, like chest and tries, back and buys, legs. It's like, okay, at least you're doing something.
Yeah.
Good start. If we're trying to optimize the time we have, we explain basic frequency. It's like, hey, if you only hit chest, or in this example, chest once a week, it's like, well, you're kind of waiting the next week till you do it again. And then hopefully the quality and the outputs are the same.
Better hit a home run every week.
Yeah. Right. So you're probably like, here's some other ideas. Like, why don't you do like this kind of framework where you have 3 efforts every week. Right. In some regard. And that way your consistency goes up, training outcomes go up. So it's kind of just hopefully taking knowledge they have and maybe like fine tuning to make it better. But then it's going to, vary for athletes who have different schedules and everything else like that. So, That's why there's professionals that do this. This is why we do this. It's like we have a history of doing this. So I think parents have to hopefully, understand and maybe educate themselves a little bit more and be like, hey, if this is something my kid's going to do, let me kind of walk through and see what they're looking to do and what that typically entails at the high level. Like get perspective, get real perspective. You know what I mean? Ask questions. I love having those strategy sessions on video chat with people. Like, yeah, reach out, let's set up a call. We'll hop on a call for 15 minutes and like answer, like ask away. And then if nothing else, they get maybe some insight, but maybe they have more questions after, like, oh, okay, like now I have better questions to ask and we have a conversation what it looks like. We're just trying to help them paint the picture of what this could look like. So hopefully that helps, some folks, but that would be my main message for a lot of parents out there, right? Because I think that's what I would tell parents of young athletes is don't wait, start them. And then I guess the question would be like, well, when is a good age for them to start?
So something we've discussed before comes down to both, obviously, like their biological age, but also their maturity. So we have, 12-year-old kids. Shout out to guys like Ben. Could name a bunch of them, but 12-year-old kids who do very well here in our group setting too. Not even like they need to be babysat, so to speak, in like a private setting. A lot of them can jump right into our semi-private or sport performance package and do well pretty much right away. And they're young, so that's like grade 7, right? Younger athletes like Everly, for example. Madden's been coming here for a couple of years. Leo, right? Then you might have a 15-year-old kid who's not mature enough to train, to be honest, just based on socially and the respect that they put into the process and the effort that they put in. So I think it's a fair question from parents. And primarily they're probably asking because you hear a lot of these myths like training's going to stunt their growth and other things that are not true. So it's all well-intentioned, right, with these questions. But oftentimes a question comes back with a question. I'm like, well, you know your kid better than I do. How does your kid take instruction? How does your kid receive feedback? Does your kid want this as bad as you want it for them? Right? And then you can kind of paint a picture. Like biologically, I feel like on average, probably no younger than 12 for the most part. But then there's also going to be that caveat of just because your kid is turned 12 doesn't mean they're automatically qualified to train, I don't believe, based on some things we've seen. Because again, you have 15, 16-year-old kids who I don't even think are mature enough to do so. So kind of like it's a bit of a, got to ask a question back to that question to give a better answer.
What do you think the biggest objection from parents getting their athletes into the training environment has been? Like the top 2.
The biggest would be, I think, what you mentioned being time and...
time is a big one, yeah.
Yeah. Time, both time available and also time parents thinking, my kid already spent so much time playing 1, 2, sometimes 3 sports. I don't think adding another stressor on top of that is healthy for them. That's what the parents might say. So I would say time is the biggest one. That's my biggest one for now. Is probably time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too often is it like the classic, oh, they're gonna get too bulky, this and that. Like because those parents don't really reach out because I think they already don't believe in it.
No.
But oftentimes I think they need to be educated on the time management, right? And when we could say, okay, it's a high-low model or it's, whatever it is, we're taking these things into consideration when we design the program. I think that can obviously put their minds at ease. But one way or another, I think time is often the biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, we have gymnasts training 20 hours a week, still making time to train.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, again.
So they're the epitome of it's possible.
It's perspective. It's like, you don't have time. It's like, well, I guess on the other side of that too, is like, well, if your athlete's playing multiple sports, yeah, it's a lot of stress. My fault be like, well, what do you see their primary sport being?
Yeah.
And again, I would still encourage them to train twice a week.
Right.
And I think it's overcome the objection, like the barrier of like, well, what does training look like?
Yeah.
Like, well, I want them to add another stressor. Like, they're doing a lot already. I think like 2 times, I think getting the gym twice a week is too much. It's like, well, what do you think we're doing?
I was going to say parents make these comments, but you haven't even seen the program yet.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think we're doing?
Yeah.
In those weight room sessions? You think we're purposely setting out to just run them into the ground?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we want them to get better. We want them to recover better. We want them to get adaptation, right? We're distinguishing strain from pain and overtrain.
Right.
So like, what do you think we're doing twice a week? It's like, hey, here's something that might look like. It's like, yeah, based on the schedule, here's what twice a week in the gym would look like for that kid, possibly.
Right.
Right. And kind of walk them through. Be like, hey, we guys start off with maybe isometrics holds, might start them off as like basic mobility stuff, different movement drills, crawls, patterns. They might do, maybe a goblet squat, maybe like, hey, instead of doing 4x5, maybe they're doing like 2x5 or 2x4, like 8 total reps for that thing. Like that's, and they, if that
Back
kind
to
of,
my other thing, maybe they are doing the minimum effective dose because it makes sense for them.
maybe like if that's something that might make sense for them.
Right.
So it's like, okay. So again, it's overcoming the preconceived notions. Like one notion leads into another preconceived notion, and we're just trying to like tackle these things one at a time. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like the timing thing, they're already too busy. It's like, well, then you have to ask are you busy or are you being productive?
Yeah. Are you using your time to the best of your ability?
Are you being busy or are you being productive? And the next thing is like, okay, well, if they make the time, what does that look like for them to make sure all these other things are kind of, the checks and balances all kind of like, make sense.
Right.
Which again, we can answer, we can help. So yeah, I think, that's hopefully that helps some parents out there that are listening, but yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think this whole conversation has been centered around helping parents and young athletes as we get into the season better understand what in-season training should look like. And I will say, hey, if you guys are listening, you made it this far in the episode, download our performance playbook. It's free. It's free download. It's probably like 27 pages. It's on the website. You can download it there. And we talk about in-season training. We talk about a lot of these things we talked about here on the episode. So, maybe I'll put a story out there and people can take a look at it again as we get closer to in-season. And we're always updating it, but there's some good information, some good resources in there that might help parents kind of better understand, what that kind of demand looks like and how training kind of looks like for athletes when they're navigating those things. So, but yeah, I think that's maybe a good place to wrap things up as we covered a lot of bases there. So everyone, this is the Performance Matters Podcast. As I said at the beginning, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube. We want to keep being able to bring you awesome insights, episodes, and guests as always. And of course, our webinar, right? Myles' webinar is happening August 14th, 12 p.m. So there'll be a Google form out there. You guys can put your name and your email down and he will send you the link. And you'll also get the recording as well. So if you can't make it, last minute, no problem. You will get the recording of that. So make sure you guys tune in for that stuff. And of course, big thank you again to all the parents who came out for Parents Week. It's been great meeting you all. Hope you guys got to put a name to the face, have some good insight, answer all your questions and all that kind of stuff. But it's been a blast. I'm excited to see how the tail end of summer kind of wraps things up for a lot of our athletes as we get ready for training camp. And of course, we're getting fired up for the season. So again, Performance Matters Podcast, follow us on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Apple, whatever your streaming platform of choice is, and we'll see you all next time.
Peace.